Well, good morning. Today we're in Koshkonong, Missouri, and I'm here with our friends Trent Hendricks and at Cabriejo Ranch. Trent, it's great to be here. Beautiful part of the country. Green grass, fresh air, beautiful sheep running around. You actually live here. Do you realize that this is a great place to be, or you take it for granted?
We try to take every day and appreciate the gifts that we have.
Well, I think that's awesome. Trent is somebody that not only works hard but enjoys what he does. He's never told me that, but I've just assumed that. Am I close to right?
Yep.
It's a family operation. He's got his wife and his kids all involved, and I've met with some of them, and it's again, no one told me, hey, I love doing what I do, but you can just see it in everybody. So tell us a little bit about the operation, Trent.
So if we didn't love it, we wouldn't do it. So I agree that, we're very passionate about the space we're in. We produce beef cattle and sheep with the emphasis on sheep. We are located here in the heart of the Ozarks, but we also source sheep from a fairly large area in the West and Midwest, and we graze sheep on solar farms throughout the South and the Southeast. And we sell live lambs to our customers, as well as processed lambs for our growing meat business as well.
Okay.
It's a completely family operation. We are our savory hub. We use the ecological outcome verification on all the land that we have direct management on. So we use holistic management as a real key aspect of managing our business.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, because I am a big fan of a holistic approach. And I'm probably not as in depth as what you guys are doing, but my short version is it's got to be good for the animal, whether it's a sheep or a cow. It's got to be good for the microbes or the good bugs in the rumen of that sheep or cow. It's got to be good for the soil. It's got to be good for the microbes in the soil. It's got to be good for the plant. It's got to be good for the animal. It's holistic. It's full circle. And I appreciate you making Riomax, I call it a puzzle piece in the big picture. Can you speak to that at all, your experience with Riomax?
Yeah, we believe that Riomax is a key part of our product line and how we manage our resources. So much of the soils that we operate on have been depleted either due to extractive agriculture over the years, or on a solar farm through the excavation and the construction process of developing. Right. So we work with a lot of soil that is not optimum. And therefore, to ensure that we have optimum animal health, we need to make sure they're properly mineralized and get proper nutrition. And that's a big piece of where your product line comes into play for us, particularly as sheep follow the grass, and it's kind of a modern transhumance where we're moving the sheep to take them to grass. The grass quality, the grass type, the grass quantity is a highly variable thing.
It's all over
the place.
Yeah.
And we were having a lot of challenges over the years, both on stocker lambs that we're trying to put pounds on, or on breeding units that we're trying to flush for conception or optimize their productivity, issues with conception, issues with colostrum quality, all the normal metrics for a breeding unit, whether they're cows or sheep, we were really struggling with. And the Riomax products, I very strongly believe have been a huge support to stabilizing that. I think there's room for continuous improvement. Absolutely. Across the board. Yeah. But I feel like we may not have solved for all of the future opportunity, but we're actively plugging the holes that are losing value. And the Riomax has plugged a really important set of leaks in our management system. And we're excited to see where that goes. Once these leaks are all plugged, what is that product going to do to support growth
Right.
above that. I mean, the quickest way to get out of a hole is to stop digging it deeper. We think Riomax was a key element for us to stop digging that hole deeper, and now we're expecting Riomax to help fill it back in as well when it comes to the animal health and performance, as well as the impact on the land from having healthier animals, and ultimately at some point being able to translate into more nutrient dense foods for human health as well.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about the impact on the soil? Obviously, we are very much against using products that have unintended negative consequences, such as the cheaper forms of your trace minerals. So that's another story, but we're very much, again, like I said earlier, holistically centered so that we have no unintended negative consequences. Can you talk to that at all, Trent?
Yeah, I think the quality of anything we put in front of our animals is going to be valuable. One, they're going to absorb and keep it in their body, and two, what they don't need, they're going to excrete out onto the land. So we want to make sure that the quality is paramount. And, you know, being able to tie that together to nutrient density, but if we're filling in the gaps in nutrition with your product, for example, we're also fitting into our holistic plan of maximizing our productivity of the land, our stocking density, because the feed we're producing is going further. The manure from those animals is feeding additional growth. And so I would say it's a key element of our whole approach to regeneration.
Yes. And that's that word he uses, regeneration. A regenerative approach is something that gets continually better. You know, what's merely sustainable is, if you take the definition of sustainable, it means it's pretty much flatlining. And if it's degenerative, which is sadly how some operations have, they've gotten into that, where things get worse. This picture is a very bright picture, and I think we can sum it up with one word, and that is hope. Because we're giving people, the consumer, hope. More nutrient dense, healthier food. More delicious tasting food. We're giving the environment hope because we're working with Mother Nature and we're eliminating one by one the unintended negative consequences.
Yeah, and removing inefficiencies from a modern agricultural system.
Right, because the farmer or rancher has got to be profitable in this whole journey, right? It's not just like we're going to fix the planet and go broke doing it. That's not an option.
I feel there's three conditions anything can be in, whether it's your health, your wealth, your relationships. It can either be degenerative, sustainable, or regenerating, which you touched on. What a lot of people fail to appreciate is that most things that people consider sustainable are actually sustaining the rate of degradation. And so until we break through that limiting factor and can actively demonstrate and statistically prove that we are regenerating, chances are we're not in a good place. And that's where, you know, can we raise animals without a nutrient supplement? Probably, but are they going to be getting better? Or are they just sustaining whatever it is that land can provide, which may or may not be adequate?
Right.
And so if we can support their health and immune systems in a way that also supports the health and bounty of our land, it's kind of like a one-shot, two-kill solution.
Right.
And that's part of why it's so critical that, you know, when we at Cabrillo Ranch identify our partners, which is how we view Riomax, is you're a partner in our animals' welfare, but we wouldn't use your product if it only did that one thing,
right,
but had a negative impact on the rest of the business.
Exactly. Yep.
It has to be, you know, support the business case, it has to support the animals' welfare, and it has to support our long-term stewardship mentality to our natural resources. And that's why we're together, because we feel it does.
I think that's a very powerful statement he's just made. And really, you know, as the ag industry, I'd like to speak to the ag industry. You know, we tend to get fragmented. You know, there's sheep, or there's cattle, or there's grass-fed, or there's corn-fed, or there's organic, or there's, you know, I would say that there is a market for all of this. And there is a way to be regenerative and bringing hope back into agriculture and being future-proof or future-minded in all of those spaces. I'm not here to preach that everybody does exactly what Trent does in raising sheep and doing it grass-fed, but just to take home some of these principles so that we can make agriculture come together and shoulder up and become stronger and become more resilient.
Agree, absolutely.
Well, appreciate you having us out here. This is some pretty idyllic country, and but we're gonna have to cut this video. We gotta let you get back to loading lambs.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.